Hey, everybody, you're listening to the Songwriters Across Texas podcast, where we get to know musicians through their stories and we get to hear some of their songs. I'm your host, Karl Anderson. Today we're recording at Arlyn Studios in Austin, Texas, and my guest is the Jace of Spades. Jace grew up in Atlanta, hating school and happily immersing himself in football and becoming a decorated martial arts JV Olympian. After school, he enlisted in the military and was deployed to Iraq. It was in a war zone where somebody put a guitar in his hand. This gave him something to focus on in a difficult place. Once back stateside, after a little time in Savannah, Georgia, he worked for his father in Atlanta, where he started playing open mic nights. A 2-year stint in Nashville to get some chops, and then he comes back to Atlanta, and he fell in with B.B. Lee's band and hit the road for 2 more years. BB's guitar-shredding daughter, Kelly, took over the band at the end of the tour. Jason Kelly moved to Austin, followed shortly by Kelly's younger brother, Cody, on drums, and they formed the Texas KGB with bassist Violet Leah. Just ahead of the pandemic, they changed their name to Madam Radar and are fast on the rise. Just last weekend, opening up for Bon Jovi. Wow, people. Hey, welcome to the show, Jace. Great to have you.
It's crazy to hear it all laid out like that.
I bet. Anyway, I think it's pretty accurate, and I think the kids have a good idea who we're about. We'll give them the details. But first, a song.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a song called "The Last Goodbye." It's one of my earliest songs. Kind of thinking about that timeline. It's just for anybody who's sick of being lied to. This one's for you. Cool. Heading out of Reno just last Saturday night. Driving through the rain, I just couldn't hide. Well, darling, you got to me, and now nothing feels right. Ever since we said our last goodbye. You said, tell me you want me, and tell me you need me. Help me through the night. So baby, I love you, one I can run to. Shield me from the fire. You know I love you. If you need the truth, just look into my eyes. That's when I told you my last goodbye. Rolling out in my pickup truck, just flying down 395. Like a bat out of hell for that state line. Oh no, outrunning your memory, trying to set it on fire. Ever since we said our last goodbye. You said, tell me you want me, and tell me you need me. Help me through the night. So baby, I love you, the one I can run to. Shield me from the fire. You know I love you. You need the truth, just look into my eyes. That's when I told you my last goodbye. Well, you know, I miss you, Reno. My patience is too tired. Tired of all that crap you kept on firing at me. Oh, I can't help but love you. What you mean to me. You're a kind of heartache that I don't need. So look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. 'Cause baby, I already knew you were lying to me.
That was an early one, yeah?
One of the first few, I was kind of trying to figure out what it's still in that realm of like I learned 4 chords, G, D, E minor, C, and I learned how to put them in every possible combination and capo up and down still while using
GDC is what most people say. But how did the E minor get in there?
Turn the Page's fault.
Oh, okay,
yep,
okay.
It's a E minor for that's one of the first few songs I learned to sing was Turn the Page. Weirdly enough, the only few CDs that we had was Metallica's Garage Inc. came out. And they were obviously they're already Metallica, but it was just like, okay, cool. That was their version was kind of what got me back into that. And when I came back stateside, I refound the Seeger version. I love them both for completely different reasons. That's kind of why my version sounds like how it does. Because it's very rough and rock from their edge, but then like, oh, Bob Seger's just amazing, and then you had some saxophone.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's why I asked which version. And
Cody plays the hell out of that song when we do it live, just the two of us, which is pretty. Or he does it full band, obviously too, but just on saxophone, it just rips.
That's awesome.
So.
Oh yeah, that Cody playing the sax and drums, having that in your band is excellent. Let's talk about though your humble beginnings. Growing up in Atlanta, couple CPAs for parents, right?
Shout out to the Braves and the Bulldogs. Go Dogs.
Braves and the Bulldogs.
Winner.
That's right.
So,
although we got him on the Red Sox now. It's not for nothing.
The Falcons traded away everybody.
Exactly. Come on, Falcon. But you were loved football.
Love it.
Really thought, that you might actually do it.
Was hoping, but there's just not a lot of call for 5'10" quarterbacks in the NFL that I understand. Maybe nowadays it's changed a little bit, obviously, but
no.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed. If you're 6'2", you're short, pretty much.
That's awesome. But yeah, I definitely, sports was super important for me growing up, and I really enjoyed it. And by the end of it, I think I don't know if, you just kind of realize where you think you are and what level that is. And I didn't necessarily see it becoming a professional thing. So it just...
I had the same thing with baseball.
One other way, so.
I had the same thing with baseball. But what you did have, which you might have made you think I should do this, was you were winning medals at the Junior Olympics in martial arts.
Yes, I have both my parents to thank, actually. I grew up kind of like my wife grew up when she was 6. She was in a studio learning how to just learn, being around it. I grew up in a martial arts studio. Both my parents were martial artists through karate and Tung Soo-Do and different stuff. And it just played a really big part throughout my entire teenage life. And I've had a couple of amazing teachers just through the time. And it led to us being able to compete and do stuff locally, which if you go with the AAU, you're able to then go to the Junior Olympics and national stuff and just compete. And it was super fun. So it was just
And you actually had success and won medals.
I was pretty solid at forms and stuff. Fighting, not so much. But it was because I was actually too aggressive for point fighting. So I got thrown into international sparring at a pretty young age. Mm-hmm. And that was but I'd have to fight pretty much grown men as a 15-year-old. So it was kind of weird, but it was, it just taught me a ton, and I loved it. And like I said, I had great teachers. My dad, a lot of that time he has 4 black belts and it's just nuts. So it's a super big part of our life.
What would you say is the essence of, what it does teach you? Character stuff?
Self-control for sure. You know what I mean? I definitely, when I was younger, I enjoyed scrapping a little bit more than I probably should. But, I grew up in just a family where it was just being tough and kind of, just not trying to beat people up at all, but just kind of just trying to have confidence about the fact that you could take care of yourself.
Yeah, you're not walking around scared.
Yeah, and you shouldn't. Nobody should. It's I don't want to live in a world like that, but at the same time, being trained enough is something, and like a preparedness is something my dad taught me with that. It was just always be prepared, just, and it just really was a great way to learn that because it's discipline. There's nothing like kind of getting punched in the face a couple times.
Sure.
To teach you.
Yeah.
Okay, well maybe I'm not I'm not whatever I think is going on in my brain right now, for teenage
right
kids and stuff. So,
but the discipline that you learn is and you're taught to avoid the fight as long as you can.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, I think it's weird, when two martial artists it doesn't really happen because you just kind of talk it out. You're like, I don't really see the point in us trying to figure this out physically. But It's usually when too much alcohol gets involved, and words get exchanged, and sometimes egos get bruised, and
then people clash. But two martial artists would just start circling each other.
That's when the kung fu music starts.
Yeah,
it gets a little. That's when it can, I guess, get out of control. But it rarely ever happens. Like anytime I ever got in a scrap with somebody in a bar, it was never somebody that was like an MMA fighter. And that's what you got to watch out today. Is there's a lot of dangerous people walking around.
Yeah,
on both sides, because you don't want to get punched and whack your head off the curb and then you're done. And it's that's it. And all because you decided someone scuffed your sneaker.
Did you see the guy on the clip on the airplane of the guy bugging Mike Tyson?
That's never a good idea.
No, did you see it? I saw it recently. It's crazy. Some kid was loaded and his friends are filming him and he's like bugging Mike Tyson in the seat in front of him for like the whole flight. And finally Mike gets up and he just slaps the hell out of him. Bap, 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 bap. And he gets off the plane and his friends are like, I don't know why I did that. And the whole rest of the world is watching it going, you're lucky you aren't dead.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're lucky he slapped you.
You're lucky he was so held it together.
He's a really sweet guy from what I understand.
I listen to his podcast.
Yeah, he's a very sweet guy.
And he's smart as can be. He knows his philosophy.
Like Tyson Mysteries, bro.
That's one of my favorite things ever.
TV show.
I've watched that like 3 times over. And Norm Macdonald, of course, R.I.P.
Right, the late great.
So, yeah, we're talking about everything but your...
Cool.
So
I was really lucky to be with a great group that went really far in places. And like I said, we went to the Nationals and Junior Olympics, and you're surrounded by a bunch of families, and it was just super cool. So kind of being able to grow up with that. I missed that for a long time. That's actually part of what I get out of music is that community with people now. It's super cool to kind of have that. So, again.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you end up going to Iraq.
Yeah, that happened quick too. I had a drill sergeant that in basic training, because nothing had happened at that moment, and it was pre 9/11 by like I want to say almost a year, and I had a drill sergeant was like, pretty soon, guys, we're gonna be at war. And I was like, what? And this guy was like he was like a Terminator robot mixed with RoboCop level, like just crazy physical. He just could do dips.
Oh, wow.
Like a machine. And it was terrifying. He could run a mile in just unheard of times. And you're just like, okay, I'm pretty sure that guy's a robot. That's cool. But he would say that, and I was like, oh, no, this is, peacetime, blah, blah, blah. And I'm, and we get to our duty station after basic training and AIT and all that, and then it hit, and it was like, wow, he said that weirdly, 8 or 9 months ago.
Right.
I don't think he was necessarily trying to say it like that. Maybe he was just trying to make a point, like, that's what we're training for, boys. This is serious.
Right.
It's like,
that he had enough. He it didn't just start from there. There was years of trouble building up to that.
Yeah.
So that he had some inside information, obviously, that was like, hey, man, this stuff's building up.
The drill sergeants are tough guys, man, and girls out there. Like, they're usually very well trained, and they're getting ready. They're getting young people ready to go fight.
Yeah, and they're trying not to get them killed.
Yeah, in an era when you're not really allowed to scrap it up anymore.
Right.
It's not really. You're supposed to use words.
Did the martial arts help you at all in that training?
I didn't really get into hand-to-hand stuff when we were over there. There just wasn't the presence that was presented to us in the beginning, and what I thought I was going to see, like a Iraqi Republican Guard and things like that. There really wasn't. It became like insurgencies from different countries and people just trying to keep whatever that, the regimes and stuff that was in power, and global politics that I'm not even going to begin to act like I have a clue other than that. But it was just, at the time I was like a 20-year-old kid. I turned 21 in Iraq, and then the rest is history. I got lucky enough to come home.
Right.
So.
And someone put a guitar in your hand.
Yeah. I learned to play guitar at a very weird Uday Hussein's palace.
Wow.
So on the banks of the Tigris River, which was super, super pretty in a weird way.
Of course it was.
Sunsets out there.
I'm guessing. I mean, I haven't been, but it has to be. You wouldn't think they'd be living in a
place that. And the stars are amazing in the desert. Like, it's really, when there's no light, there's no heat bloom anywhere. You just look up and you go, oh my God.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy.
That's awesome. So. That's cool. So, but you got out. You got through. You went to Savannah for a few. Went back to your dad. Start playing. Yeah. And tell me what your dad said to you.
So, I guess when I started writing songs, I was in a very dark place, and was just trying to process through a lot of stuff, and
Go figure.
Music made me feel better, right? But music really was that healing sense for me, and that's what's been cool, and I'm glad it's been something that I stuck with because I kept trying to write what I thought were songs, and a lot of it was just my feelings, and not necessarily naming names or pointing fingers at anybody, but just very like sad material. And my dad, who's one of my biggest supporters and was the first person to buy me all that equipment and go, yeah, I think you could maybe really do this. We'll talk about it, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But you're really sad. Like you really bummed me out, dude. And I was just like...
And you guys get along.
And I thought, you know what, for a second there, I was like, is my dad doing a bit? You know what I mean? Like, are you seeing what I want to say? Is there a camera somewhere in here? He's like, you know, and he wasn't being mean about it. It was really sweet. But at the time I was also like, what? I was like, whatever, man. I'm a serious musician. I don't write happy material. And I went home and he somehow the voice got inside my head and was like, hey, just go home and try it. Why not? Right. Yeah. Why not just try it? And I went home and in about 15 minutes, begrudgingly was like angrily pinning this love song to no one in particular. And it was just like, but I just was like, I got your head on the pillow and you're looking at you romantic and grumble. And I'm getting the song out and I actually had a show that night. And I remember getting done writing it and being like, ugh. And you kind of like, it's almost like pouring out of you like a vessel or something. It's weird. And I get done with it, and I'm like, okay. And I kind of played through it a couple more times. I was like, this actually isn't the worst thing ever. I was like, okay, maybe I'll play it tonight. And I ended up playing it that night for my dad, and it was the rest is history. And it's been like a song I played forever. So
that's so. But then he said, yeah, I think you should go to Nashville and do this.
When I quit my job after that later, like about 3 months later or 4 months later, it was definitely I think you have something cool here. This will be, you know, definitely go to a place with country music, man. So
yeah. So great support to have support. You get to Nashville.
My parents are great. Both my parents are great.
That's wonderful, and mine are too. But we had some troubles when I was a teenager, so I'm, you know, they're all done.
I was a knucklehead at times. I'm sure I drove them absolutely insane, but
I did.
But you know, my dad was standing on the side stage with us for Bon Jovi. So the guy that bought me that first stuff, you know, because my mom got me the guitar, well, my dad got me the equipment, and it was cool because I wish both of them could have been there for that kind of moment. But it was definitely like, hey, remember when we were standing at Ken Stanton Music and you were like, "Are you sure you want me to do this? This is a lot of money. Like, it's $2,000 for all this speakers, and you don't even know how to run it." Like, and I was like, "Okay, well, maybe we can ask the guy."
Right.
And he did, and it was great. And we went back to the guy for advice for like the next year and a half. But you know,
that's what you do.
But that's what you do, and you talk to the guys and you learn. And and it was like all of a sudden I was like, see all the stuff they're setting up for us this time? This is cool, right?
That's
like,
so rad.
Give him a big hug, and he was just excited. So it was definitely a really cool moment.
Well, that's cool. Because it's such a unique. So you go to Nashville and you have a friend, and you like, I'm gonna go write some songs and learn how to write songs.
Zach, he was nice enough to let me kind of crash on the couch and just. He always kind of believed in me too. We would see what was going on.
Zach is Zach Garner. So you're over at your buddy Zach.
Yeah, and I'm up there and I met a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter who kind of schooled me a little bit on how the rules and the politics of Nashville really work. And I didn't really want to give it away, you know. And in the end, I decided to not let him put his name on my song, which was the same song my dad had given me, because it was just like, well, if this has this kind of draw, this kind of power.
Well, we should clarify that there is some times where bands are really successul and they bring in a young writer, and this happens. You know,
that's how you collaborate. And I understand it better now. I think at the time I was just nervous because I didn't know what was going on. I was very much by myself.
Understandably,
you know,
understandably nervous. Somebody's asking you, they're going, "I like your song, and put my name on it. We'll split it." And you're like, "What do you mean, man? This is my best song."
You know, it's like this is like, I don't know, but you know, it definitely it validated a lot of things for me. The guy wasn't that mad at me about it. He was just like, "Look, this is kind of the way it goes here. If you want to do it here, this is what you're gonna have to do."
That's how you get in the door there. That's what I've heard from more than one person.
Well, I always knew, like in the back of my head, I knew that I had BB. I could go back down, and if this song is that good. And it's moving the needle the way it should, then other people will want to record it too, and we'll go with that. And like maybe they'll let me sing it, maybe because it was like, oh, we'll do this, and then there's gonna be another singer, and I was like, oh well, I want to sing it. I'm just getting used to having a song and having people dig it. You know what I mean? Like people kind of dug my other stuff, but it was sad. It was like it really was like the first time people were like, oh, that's cool, and that would launch me into doing other covers, like stuff like that in country music. So, or trying country music.
But so you get this great education. You actually, so I'm gonna go my own route. Okay, I see how this works, and I'm gonna go back to Atlanta. But now you got enough, and BB's like, okay, kid.
Yeah, I
Let's
came
go.
home and I played. I went back to basically where he and Kelly and Cody all had a pizza restaurant and family thing, and it was super cool. And I went there, was like, hey, I'd love to play. I'd love to maybe set up a show here. I got my stuff now. I still got all my gear, so I'll set it up and I'll just kind of, let's call it an open mic or whatever. But if no one shows up, I'll play. And so that was basically me. I felt like it was me auditioning for him and just kind of going, I think you'll like what you hear, and if you do, then you'll come back over to me and go, hey man, we should really want to do something together.
Right.
So yeah.
So he liked
and the
it.
rest is history. Yeah. He was like, I like it a lot. Let's go on the road and let's do something. So
2 years. 2 years straight.
about 2.5, yeah.
The band was BB.
We were Jason Lee back then,
Jason Lee.
which was very confusing because there's an actor, Jason Lee. There's, and the way we spelled it, nobody, like Jace wasn't the, what's, I don't want to call it the seemingly popular name now, but like, Jace in Lee, like.
I get it.
Like Brooks and Dunn or.
Right. Jace and Lee, but everybody went, where is he?
Yeah. They were like, do I actually get to meet Jason?
Yeah, where's the dude from that, what's that team?
Writing
My
checks
name is
even
Earl.
more fun. Writing checks, because nobody would, it was all Jason Lee. And I was like, my name's JAC, whatever.
Just give us cash.
Eventually. Right. But they just tell the bank, like, hey, there might be 9 different representations of my name coming in here on checks.
You
so
see my name, you see how people
they don't always call to check
right
for the checks.
Were they good to you about it? Has the bank messed with you before?
Not anymore. But
they used to mess with everybody.
Yeah.
I don't like
Do you remember banking hours back in like the 90s?
Yeah.
You're like, if you didn't get there at 1:30 to 4.
And all
like,
the fees they would take for dumb stuff. Ooh, that makes me mad to this day. Cleveland. Damn it.
Sorry.
So you go back, you go on tour, and
we were an exercise in like in a drill. Like it was crazy because at some points it was 5 to 6 nights a week, 5 hours a night, and you learn a lot. Like it's a crazy amount of time to cover in music, and we learned a bunch of songs very, very fast and went on the road. And it was like some of it was top 40 country, some of it was like us resisting and still trying to be a Southern rock style mixed with a lot of things, because we still had a lot of singers in the band. It's funny, like everyone could do a song, so it was kind of cool,
right?
Especially at that level of like
Kelly
5
was in the
hours a
band
night.
Obviously at that point.
Not at first.
No, okay.
No, she came on the road later. She had her own thing with Cody and stuff called Escape Ferocity, which actually was really solid. It was
nice.
It was so cool.
I bet.
Just super cool lyrics and just their harmonies and the guitar, the simplicity of what was there was really cool. But like as bands do, they don't always stay together. And she came out on the road with us, and it was like, hey, what do you want to do? Because Atlanta is so great for a lot of things, and music wise, like you have R&B, hip hop, country back in the 90s. Like there's a lot of great things, but at that point, it just wasn't lending itself to any of that, like rock or really country, which is why I left in the first place.
Right.
And the same with them. It was like, well, because there's definitely some amazing bars to play. Like shout out to Eddie's Attic. I think we're playing there when we hit Atlanta here in October. But like, there's just to me, there's never enough. And it was like on the roads where we went. So
yeah. What great education in playing that much. That's what the Beatles did.
You learn whether
That's
or not
where
you want to do
good.
this. If you don't want to do this, I suggest do anything else, because this is not always that easy, but it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done, because it works for what
That's well put.
My brain.
Right.
Wave.
Like what else am I gonna do? Right.
Yeah, I was like, I seem to really fit well into that time category, but
right. I've tried my hat at security work, digging ditches, painting houses,
which I've tried. I'm okay at those things.
Yeah, I can do all of them, and I paid the bills with all of them.
I'm a very
too.
average, enthusiastic house painter.
Yeah, me too.
You're like, this guy just doesn't look like he's happy. And you're like,
I just like to
paint your house.
Yeah, paint your house.
Sorry,
it's never enough. I'll tell you what. Let's do another song.
Okay,
you got one ready?
I do. Yeah, I wrote this song called "Want to Spend My Days," and it's just about. Funny for me, it's when it comes to Kelly, like there was a moment that I remember hanging out and just being like, "You're so cool," like, and I just really enjoy
us hanging out together. And funny enough, we were with different people at the time. We both had, significant others, and just kind of like. But I was like, you're just awesome. Like, you're awesome to hang out with. You're so mellow, and I needed that in my life. So I've actually written a lot of love songs about my wife and to my wife, and it's cool, but in a shameless, weird way. I didn't feel like I had run out of ideas, but I was like, I have a lot of love songs that sound kind of like lyrics. The titles sound like lyrics to me, and I was like, so I'll just try to cram them all into a love song, a new love song about you. So that's,
right on.
Good stuff. So it's always fun to watch some of our fans count along with it, because it's a question as to how many titles are in the song.
That's awesome, man.
I hope everybody meets somebody like this someday.
Bravo.
When I open my eyes to another sunny day, such a sweet surprise. It's you who meets my gaze, and now the clouds in the sky. My mind is in a haze, was a dreaming last night. So I wanna spend my days with you. I wanna spend my days with you. You're my kind of beautiful, you're my one more time. You're where the wind blows me, oh, I just can't get enough of your smile. Your love helps me fly away from the corners of my mind. Oh, you're the lights in my brightest nights. I wanna spend my days with you. I wanna spend my days with you. So when you're in my mind, like the warmest sunny rays, makes my soul shine. So let me count the ways you make the little cold nights melt into my days. You leave me feeling just right. I wanna spend my days with you. I wanna spend my days with you. Was a dreaming last night. Oh, was a dreaming last night. Oh, so please don't wake me up. Open my eyes to another sunny day, such a sweet surprise. It's you who meets my gaze, and now the clouds in the sky. My mind is in a haze, was a dreaming last night. I wanna spend my days with you. I wanna spend my days with you.
Cool.
Gorgeous. Want to talk a little more about your songwriting approach, like that one in particular? Like you talked a little bit about it, but like did the lyrics come first? Did the music? Do you keen on that?
I'm kind of a weird songwriter. Most of my, I guess, path to getting a song has to do with whether or not I'm in the mood. And I'm not always in the mood to write. And when I'm not, I don't write. And you know, obviously, like you're sitting there and something comes to you real quick, I'll snap up my phone and record it real quick. Just be like, there's a lot of weird little voice memos that, you know, you go back and listen to. What was I even thinking? Okay, or you know, you write down. You're like, this is going to be funny, and you write it down. And you're like, that's not funny at all. When you write it back, you know, you're looking at it going, this isn't okay. And it kind of helps to just kind of keep it loose. But if something does strike, and all of a sudden it's flooding out of me, and for whatever reason, it's usually because I'm frustrated or I'm anxious, or I'm just like, you know, even if I'm happy, sometimes like that's what prompted this song, where I was just like, just thinking about all the songs I wrote about her, and I was just like, oh my God, haha. And I was like, let me write 2 verses around it and try to, you know, just, she's also super inspirational for me. So it helps. It's awesome.
Yeah. But, you guys are a great couple and you take care of each other.
Yeah. But yeah, like honestly, it's when the mood's there, but it's,
I like that. I'm the same. It's like, you don't necessarily want to make yourself right.
It's a vessel moment for me, honestly. It's because it's like, it just, when I am in the right mood and I'm feeling it, it's because it's just pouring out of you, and it's like that's when I want to craft something. So I'm, you know, and that's hopefully, and it's not like everything you write turns to gold. There's some stuff you play for some other people, and you're like, hey man, what do you think about this? And they're like, that's a bad song. You know, that's a bad song. And you're like, oh, yeah, duh.
Yeah, I was just testing.
It's just a joke. I want to see if you're cool. You know, it's definitely not emotional.
All right,
it's my childhood or whatever. But like, yeah, it's you know, it's. I am really lucky to be surrounded by people who are very open musically, and we don't really try to clamp down and go, just be this genre.
Right.
Even though I'm probably like the more country one in the band or something like that, it's like that. They don't go just, you know, stay in your lane.
No, of course
it's
not.
very open to whatever writes, and and the cool thing about playing a lot of shows and being able to go and try stuff for fans and new audiences everywhere is just that. It's like you kind of get a good sense of whether or not what you're doing is you know, is going to grow or not. So
yeah, the audience is a good way to.
It's a great barometer.
That's what. Well, Bob Schneider was telling us that the Saxon Pub was great for him because he would try all his new songs out there, and you know, and a lot of whether he decided if they were any good, had to do with the response. I mean, not every time, but that sort of coincides.
Well, usually, like we were at Green Hall today, and I was like, "Hey guys, I just want to try this new cover," and I was like, and I really hadn't looked at it a lot, which is one of those weird moments where I was like, "Why am I doing?" In the back of my brain's going, "What are you doing? Don't pull out that song right now. You've barely looked at it. What are you doing?" I was like, "No, I'm just gonna." I love the rush of just trying to be like, "Hey, I got to figure this out," you know, as you're going, and it's like
in front of everybody.
Yeah, in front of people who are gonna be like,
did it work out?
Yeah, actually I got a pretty solid. I usually preface it by saying like, hey man, hey y'all, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to try some new stuff. Here's a new cover I'm kind of working on.
Right.
Let me know. And usually people are pretty sweet about it. You know, every once in a while you'll be like, that's not going to work. And you're like,
come up here and
who gave that guy a microphone? You're so far back, but I can hear you so clearly.
I really think your melodies and lyrics both are very strong. Like that, they're very. Like, man, that's a hit. That's, you know, like you.
I'll do thanks.
Some people write hooky on purpose, and some people are just naturally good at it. What would you say yours, or is it a combination of the two?
Well, I don't know. Like, I think for me, I really want to convey how I'm feeling in the moment. Like each song's like a miniature play in a way, right? And you look like, I like lyrics. Like a lot of times listening to music and not really growing up in a family that like everyone appreciated music. So to say like I didn't grow up around people that love music. They did, just not like, hey man, you need to listen to this record. It's Led Zeppelin. It's going to change your life. You know, no, I never really had that moment. But it's actually really good because the people, when I would hang out with everybody, everyone listened to something different. Completely different. So I was like, I've really got a great mix of music thrown at me. And in the end, it was like, okay, trying to put it together and figuring out like how I felt about it and listening to the lyrics, like hook songs and stuff that repeats itself. Actually, I don't want to sound like a jerk, but they're just not usually my favorites. If you have 5 lines in your song, I'm probably going to change it. And it's just because I don't, you know, I'm not, it's just not, that's not my thing. And
yeah. everything is art is about taste.
Yeah, and not that my taste is good. It's just I listen to a lot of weird stuff.
Everyone has their own taste.
Every once in a while, Kelly will poke her head in the room,
it's subjective,
doing some art, and she's like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm not gonna try to defend this."
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Like, it just kind of came on and whatever. But
snap out of it.
Yeah, it's just like, whatever. But yeah, I think like I feel some of my where I want to have my songs is I want to convey that feeling, and if I convey that feeling from my standpoint, you'll forgive the fact that I'm not the greatest guitarist or the greatest vocalist throughout like the time of growing. You know what I mean? Like I just tried to be really real and just kind of give that, because I don't really talk that much on stage. I said like 8 words into the microphone today in 2 30-minute sets, and it was like, "Hi, thank y'all." In versus, it's fun to like watch someone like Kelly or like Andrea McGee. Like they're both great at talking into the microphone. I'm like, how do you do that? Mm-hmm. Like this is easy. Like I love this. Like, but this is like, but when you're talking to a bunch of people, just kind of, I want to excite you, but I'm like, I'm not really the hype guy. So.
That's funny. I never noticed that watching you play. I feel like you interject as much, but I believe
it's just different energy. You know what I mean? You're not like, oh, cool. He's going to stand in that same spot a lot. Awesome.
Like, I'm gonna stand here and look at
That's
you.
why I'm so grateful. Like I said, Kelly she's just all over the place. Eddie Vedder, style, just
climbing 40 feet up and diving off into the
speakers, and she'll get up on a table, walk across the bar. It's pretty awesome.
That is awesome. So, she's great. That's a good segue to let's talk about the band.
Okay.
Madam Radar, formerly the Texas KGB. We said in the beginning that y'all got together with Violet Leah, and you were the Texas KGB, and then you decided to change your name to Madam Radar, and right about then was the pandemic hit. But coming out of it, you didn't lose any momentum during the pandemic.
No. Well, we have amazing
crazy.
fans, and I know every band, it sounds kind of cliche, we all have amazing fans, but we do. And it's like ours took care of us. And obviously at a time when we're all stuck inside trying to figure out just any way to occupy 5 minutes of your brain, we attacked as hard as we could at making a live stream, and it evolved. Like the first show is funny because it's the camera sideways and we have to turn it, and But by episode 20, we had started to hit stride, and this is every week, 2 hours, and it is with TV. It's like we're rehearsing for 2 days. We're also rehearsing on our own, picking out new songs. You're learning new material, and it was 2 hours every Saturday for 66 weeks, and it just it still tickles me. Someone will walk up and just be like, "Man, thank you. Like, I love that you guys did that." And, we just, that was our Saturday night every Saturday. Yeah. It was like, we gave us all something to do, us too. Cause it was like,
right.
And obviously you're looking at a screen and you're staring at a couple phones and,
But after 66 weeks, you have a body of work that's
132 hours of just crazy, nonstop. My dad actually made a whole, directory of all of it. He just put it together. So we're gonna be releasing everything where if you want to look up a song, it'll take you to the versions, because sometimes we repeated some songs here and there as stuff got originals as we were working on things, and some of the covers that were more popular or worked into, because we had like Violet was actually genius at coming up with little games and stuff for us to play and all sorts of things. Right. I mean, it was just a cool variety show that was a fun part to be with. And then realizing that people actually are entertained by that, just makes you.
And you added, you had the choo-choo train and all that, which was
the Lego
fun.
Train, the shot train,
like that was good. But you also, one of the things I was impressed, because you guys invited me to do one of the shows, and I had such a great time doing it. It's fun. But we had the Iron Wolf. We had to
Iron Wolf Ranch and Distilleries, man.
Wolf,
shameless plug right here, but it is one of those. They are
we want to plug them.
Family-owned company.
No,
it's going to take over the world one of these days, and it's
they're sweethearts, and they supportive, and
they were one of our biggest supporters through a lot of that, and that's why we were able to drink a case of that a week, which is fantastic. So.
Yeah. Anyway, though, what I was gonna say, and when you guys were doing the pandemic show, was that you also. There were paintings that you would work on, and there was crochet stuff, and there was
everyone
kind of
has
shirts
a little side
stuff.
hobby, and we just try to make an object a week. One of us would, and we'd rotate that because it was pretty involved. Like a lot of my stuff, especially at the time as I was learning, would take up to about 40 hours of
I remember
man time.
pointillism thing. Was that you?
Yes, no. Kelly's
Kelly did the
Kelly's the artist when it comes to that, the paintings and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Pointillism's
So
ridiculous.
yeah, that's I don't know how she does it. Like watching her do it, it's like a machine.
Wow.
It's like okay. So
Okay, see, we all get out of the pandemic. You guys are back in business. I'm gonna. Everything's moving up.
the
You guys-
world's
the-
opening back
You're
up.
playing
you know?
again,
Yeah.
and you're recording. And I guess
We
you
decided,
already.
after all that rehearsal time, might as well try to get. It was because the girls like are involved in a singer-songwriter group, and I'm sure this is on her episode. But yeah, well, not that that too, but
and nothing.
both Violet and Kelly are in an actual singer-songwriter group that submits a thing every week, and the gentleman that does it gives out a writing prompt, and they've come up with some crazy good stuff. Like I write about a song whenever I feel like it. They write a song a week, sometimes 2 a week, and it's like that's a really incredible pace for anybody to be creative, and especially at the high level that they put out songs. Because it was actually kind of funny. It forced me at the end before we went to the album to go record everything. Was I started having to really write songs because at that pace they were coming up with such a high, like I said, volume of good songs. Where I was like, oh my God, you guys are gonna have 60 songs a piece to submit, and I'm gonna have 2. And I was like, ugh. So I started cranking a few out for me, but I also, the world was opening up, and it was nice and felt good, and it was cool. So,
that's cool. So I feel like we've been waiting to talk about Bon Jovi, the Jovi. So we're pretty much present. Tell me how that came about.
Well, we entered a contest.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. I think before they released the tour, or before they went on tour, they told everyone that they were going to start picking a local band in all the major cities and have someone open up for them like us. And I remember Kelly saying something, vaguely like, "Hey, you want to open up for Bon Jovi?" And you're like, "Duh, of course." When is this happening? It's like, "Oh, he's coming to town. It's on the tour. I'm submitting us for opening acts and just trying to look up some stuff." And and so we submitted for that, and thinking, what are the odds? But why not us, right? Us and the other 6 million people that definitely want to open up for Bon Jovi on any given day.
Yeah, exactly.
And deserve to, because there's a lot of talent in Austin. So it 3 days before they were going to be here, we get an email at about 7:30 at night that says, "Hey, you've been selected to open up for Bon Jovi."
Wow.
And so
that close to the date.
That close. And
you didn't even have time to tip your hat to anybody.
we scrambled a little bit and ended up, putting it all together. So it was really cool.
Can you tell me a bit about how the experience was once you got there? And
oh, absolutely. So they treated us like gold. Shout out to Frankie and the whole crew. Obi O'Brien, like, oh my God, he's like, I can only imagine what it must be like to be a Bon Jovi level group and act, and then have any number of whatever's gonna, band of yahoos comes driving in with their van, going, what is this gonna be? And then
but they invited you.
And they invited us,
so they were ready for it.
Totally their fault. But yeah, you're inviting people like that at just a different level, because it's like we're all aspiring to be any. If you could even sniff the shoestrings of that kind of level, would be huge success in itself. And it's like you're just getting an opportunity. You get back there, and you just you drink your can of Act Right, and you go accordingly. So they were super nice. They gave us a little green room, which was super cool, and we were all able to just be together and vibe out. And he asked us, or he didn't, I guess, but they allowed us to come out for his sound check and watch a little bit of it once they got some stuff set up. And he waved to us when we walked up. I was like, "Oh, hey guys." And we were just like, "Oh, Bon Jovi waved." We're all high-fiving each other. Yeah. So it was amazing. It was an absolutely amazing.
That's cool. And so when you finally played, how many people, and it's a new venue.
Brand new venue. We got to be the first Austin band, which is an honor, and also really kind of daunting in a way, because that's a lot of a weird responsibility in a way, and that's not like necessarily said out loud, where you're like, "Hey, you want to, Madame Radar was born in Austin, so it's one of those.
Right.
We're an Austin band, and we love this town, and it's been a great support system for us to be able to get this out. We've made 4 albums here 5 in Texas if you count out there with Royal Bar and Kerrville, and it's
Right.
like, you want to celebrate that because it's a triumph for all of us. If any of us can get that slot,
Yes.
you know what I mean? It could have been anybody, and I would have been like, yeah, cool, because there's a lot of names on that list that deserves a weird word, but
Yeah.
I think if you work your butt off, and you deserve to get a little lucky every once in a while, and that's
Right.
that's
Clint Eastwood. Deserves got nothing to do with it.
got nothing.
I get the sentiment that there's worthy, and maybe is a better word.
Well,
a lot of
it's a
people that would-
validation for all of us because it's like, oh my God, that means there's actually talent in this town too.
I was so thrilled for you guys when I heard that. I mean, I was like, and we were immediately like, we should come film it. And then I was like, maybe Ben, we should back off on that. Not that we
if we
come
could have
film
had a
you
couple
guys.
more
there
days,
were a
I'm
lot-
sure we could have gotten clearance for
I
everybody.
bet we
but it
could have,
was,
but I didn't. I damn well didn't want. to
They
push
ran a
that.
tight ship. It was actually really cool when we got there. Everyone was still kind of quarantined a little bit, so is retaking a COVID test for the first time in a long time was interesting. But luckily we all passed because that was for the moment you're like, oh God, have I touched anything? I didn't really.
Yeah, wouldn't it be
I
like
just
I
wasn't
got this
thinking-
far?
Yeah, and all of a sudden 3 out of 4 of us don't pass or something.
Right.
It's just like, oh no, but no, the universe lined it up and everything went great. And we're standing in, this is actually my favorite part though. So I know we have fans there, right? And it's a 15,000 person arena.
Right.
And we had been up on stage.
Say the name of the arena again. I can't, for some reason, it's the brand new Moody,
Okay,
right?
yeah, the Moody Center.
Brand new Moody. Thank you.
So, yeah, I think they're calling it the Moody Center because it's the Moody Theater is the original. So Moody Center, and you walk out on stage and you see what 15,000 seats looks like, and it's like, holy cow! It's just amazing setup, and everything's just perfect. But we're standing in the pit, and we've been there for like 6 hours, just waiting, kind of getting everything ready, and we've done our sound check, and we're about to go on stage, and I'm in my brain, I'm like, okay, don't psych yourself out. Envision what 15,000 people is going to be like because you got to play the Moody Theater and open up for Lucas Nelson because of Bill and Sharon Murray with C4AC and stuff, and that's 3,200 people, and that's a lot, and it was a little daunting when I first saw that. So I was like, okay, prepare yourself. 15,000 people's different.
Right.
Breathe, right? And they went, ladies and gentlemen, Madam Radar, and all I hear is, yeah. And we go up the stairs, and I'm the fourth one up. So it's like, and we get out there and everything's fine. And we ended up having just an amazing show, but it's just really funny to not, because I was like, what is 15,000 people? Are they going to erupt? Are they going to clap? How many people is going to even be in there at the time? They're still filling in. It's the opening act. Like there's a lot of things, just kind of run through your brain. Like, I don't remember paying that much attention to any opening act ever.
Right.
I was like, I'm here to see Robert Plant. I don't know who you are. And I remember clapping, but I was like, oh, whatever. I was like talking to my friends and stuff. So had all that. And I was like, are we going to be, what's going to happen? And it was just funny to hear Madam Radar. Yeah.
That's priceless.
But you could see our people, this is how amazing they are. Like, I think there was like 100 of our fans there that had bought tickets at the last moment. When we were allowed to release it, everyone was like, oh my God, freaking out, scrambling to get stuff. I could see them cheering, but the reality of what 15,000 seats looks like and not everyone's there to see you.
Right. It
was awesome. It was just so cool because we get up there and by the end of our song, we hit it with Carolina, which is a great Violet Leah song, and come out swinging with the vocal on the front. And by the end of every song, everyone was cheering more and more and more and more. And we got a great reception by the end of it. People, more and more folks were filling in, feeling the energy. And they just did a great job. It sounded good, felt good. Like the whole crew, everyone was super sweet. I was just, there's just that part of me that's like, what is it like to walk up there and just see 90% of everything set up for you? Like that's got to be so awesome. And I actually got to stand where Bon Jovi stood. So they put the rug over his logo, which was, so I wasn't dancing on it, but yeah, it was,
yeah, they don't like that when you dance on
the energy
logo.
spot, man. That's where he stands.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. There's just so many cool things. And I still, like I said, and actually I expected to wake up literally until they said our name. I was just, I kept going, I'm pinching she's like, why are you pinching yourself? And I'm like, I don't think.
It's still going. The dream's still going.
I was like, it's like the kind of dream when you snap out of right before that, you're like, no, I was about to open up for Bon Jovi.
Exactly. I was about to get up at Fenway Park and get a home run.
I was going to hit the home run. Yeah. They asked me to pitch, and it was weird because I was there. And they don't do that. It's like that moment, and then you don't. And all of a sudden you're on stage and it's real.
Yeah, but and then by the end of it, were the nerves just feel like
I didn't
playing?
feel nervous, and I don't want to sound like cocky.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was. We have been blessed to be able to perform so many shows at so many different places that I've never felt more ready. And I'm glad that, you know, my anxiety kind of turns to excitement a little bit. So but in that moment I was like, I felt like we belonged. It wasn't like a weird, like, oh, you know, I'm not sure
Right.
if we really have the experience to do something
Right.
like this. And it was like having the steps and the things we've been through the last few years, especially as we've been this lineup for the last 6 years, has just been, you know, an exercise and hopefully how to get there. And if you get a little lucky, then that's, you know, I don't know why they inevitably picked us other than out of the top 10 bands, they said Obie O'Brien picked it and it was just like, he chose us. And that's just a huge honor because I'm sure the other 9 bands are amazing, you know what I mean? And would have done an amazing job too. And it's just like, you're just lucky. And I don't like,
Luck has.
and then,
But it's hard work.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Hard work and being present.
Yeah, I don't want to dismiss that, but it's definitely like the harder I work, the luckier I seem to get. You know what I mean?
That's good.
And
I think that is, and I think that's a good way to put it. And I think I can relate to that.
Well, there's a great Austin music community here. Everyone embraces each other, and that's the magic of this town. Is there's so much talent that's willing to let you up on their stage and not be weird about it. And also and then invite them up on your stage and you create this family and you're singing each other's songs like you wrote them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just creates this bigger than us situation. And I'm loving it. And we got lucky enough to be the ones they chose. So,
well, I'm so happy you guys got to do that, man, Jace. It's time for another song though, brother. It's time to go and it's time to lead us out with something lovely.
All right, I'll take you out with what's going to be our new single. You can check us out. You know, July 30th is going to be the CD release for the big thing, and leading up to that will be the single release with a music video and all that kind of good stuff. So,
excellent.
Really excited about that. This is a love song to my wife, and it's one of the newest ones, and this is just about that moment where you get to hold hands and reset with each other, and you know, love is possible. So it goes with something like this. Take the time to hold my hand. There's no pain we have, love can't understand. You'll take the rest of me, the best that I can. Mend the broken wings, learn to fly again. Tell me that you love me again, 'cause it's music to my ears, tearing down my fears, rolling through the years, take it back where we began. Say that I need you, wanna please you all the time, find the words that rhyme, will the sun to shine on our darkest days too. I wanna hold hands with you. As our love grows, we know we can't withstand all the tests that hard times oh so often can. Forever's never long enough for life's demands. So honey, let's take the time, just hold hands. Tell me that you love me again, 'cause it's music to my ears, tearing down my fears, rolling through the years, take it back to where we began.
shine on our darkest days too. I wanna hold hands with you. Tell me that you love me again, 'cause this music to my ears, tearing down my fears, rolling through the years, take it back where we began. I'll say that I need you. I want to please you all the time, find the words around, will the sun to shine on our darkest days too. Oh, I want to hold hands with you. I want to hold hands with you.
Bravo.
Hey, cool.
Jace of Spades, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jace. If you have been watching this on the CW and you'd like to see the full episode, go to Songwriters Across Texas on the YouTube channel and check it out there, as well as some other episodes that we've got up there. Jace, thanks again for being here. Jace of Spades, baby.
Appreciate it.
All right.